units while repairs are being done. Now, while some apartment owners say they are fixing the problem, one woman I spoke with says it's exhausting waiting for a change.
I'm hoping that they can get the bigger things taken care of, like the heat and everything. Because right now, I ain't even gonna lie, there's a lot of people moving because they don't feel that they're doing their job. And sorry to say it, I'm one of them.
Faith Morehart lives at Marvin Gardens Apartments in Lansing. She says problems started well before last week's storm. Morehart says she layered up in coats and blankets until the heat came back on today. While she's glad to see some progress under new management, she's worried about the rest of winter.
And then there's some people in here that have kids. I don't know how they did it. And the main reason I'm worried about, because if I'm cold, and I also know it's dangerous to the kids because some of them are like 2 months old and under. So what's it going to be like for them without no heat?
A few residents who spoke to 6 News off camera say they also had little to no heat. One man even claims his apartment flooded yesterday. In an email, managers with Simtom Management confirmed heating and leaking issues. They say contractors were brought in to repair both issues yesterday and today. This comes weeks after several units were pink tagged by City of Lansing officials, citing code compliance issues. At a different complex with different management, a woman at Silverstone Townhome says her unit was recently marked unsafe after a pipe leaked in a townhome next door.
When the storm first hit, my furnace went out, and I called them then, and they still haven't came. And in the midst of that, the flooding started like 2 days ago.
Neighbors say the complex has a history of long wait times for repairs. With waterlogged carpet and towels in the kitchen, she has no idea where she will go with her kids.
The day after Christmas, they didn't even get to enjoy their Christmas because our house, we gotta go.
Now, we did email the Ohio-based management company for Silverstone, as well as emailed the office and called the maintenance line. We have yet to hear back. As for Marvin Gardens, owners say that those code issues have been fixed with a new inspection scheduled. Darylyn?
Thank you, Josh. Hospitals around the country are struggling tonight. COVID-19 infections are surging, and while RSV and influenza cases are dropping, they are still higher than normal. This has led to a shortage in over-the-counter medicines to treat cold and flu symptoms. That includes pain relievers like Tylenol, Advil, and Tamiflu. This is especially true for medicines made for children. Medical experts say the shortage is being caused by increased demand, not a lack of supply.
The manufacturers are still manufacturing these medicines as much as they always have been. We are just seeing unprecedented demand.
What are you telling parents that are calling you in a panic?
I would say don't panic. You know, this is not going to lead to any kind of a complication with your child. These are medicines simply to make your child more comfortable.
Now, some major pharmaceutical chains are limiting purchases of some OTC drugs to prevent people from stockpiling. In less than a week, buying many models of new electric cars will come with a federal government tax credit of up to $7,500. There are new rules limiting which electric vehicles will qualify for the full credit, but those will not take effect until sometime in March. After that, some models will only be eligible for half the credit, so the next 2 months are the best time to buy those cars, including the Chevy Bolt. The credit also applies to some models of gas-electric hybrids and hydrogen vehicles. To qualify, the vehicle must be a sedan that costs less than $55,000 or a truck or SUV up to $80,000. Lake Erie's ecosystem is in poor shape. Michigan and Ontario lakes are fair, and things are looking good for Lakes Huron and Superior. Those are just some of the findings in this year's State of the Great Lakes report. The Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes and Energy makes that report annually, detailing everything from environmental changes to the water infrastructure of our shoreline cities. The ecosystem portion of the report was created by an international joint commission with Canadian authorities. Lake Erie is ranked so poorly due to chronic problems with algae. Since 2019, Lake Huron has improved from fair to good status, while Lake Ontario is only fair but may be improving since contamination levels are trending down. The United States, Michigan included, got a blast of winter weather this weekend. Travel is still being delayed around the country, and so far, the storm is being blamed for more than 50 deaths. Christian Benavides has the details.
It is the blizzard of the century. More than 24 people have died in the pre-Christmas blizzard that pummeled Buffalo, New York. That death toll is expected to climb as first responders find bodies in homes, cars, and snowbanks. The storm dumped nearly 50 inches of snow. Up to a foot of new snow is expected by Tuesday afternoon.
Anyone who declares victory and says it's over, it is way too early to say. It is still a dangerous situation to be out.
President Biden has pledged the federal government's support. The storm that paralyzed Buffalo is part of a larger system that knocked out power to more than 6 million people and snarled air traffic across the country. Right now, thousands of travelers are stranded in airports from coast to coast.
I've had a 5-hour delay, then a cancellation at the end, and then a flight rebooked the next day, which was delayed. And then I had also had to rent a car.
Southwest Airlines apologized Monday after canceling more than 2/3 of its flights and delaying hundreds more. Travelers just want the nightmare to be over.
The fact that they said the flight is canceled and we don't have any association with any of the airlines, so I'm like, so you just leaving everybody out to dry.
As the frustration piles up, so does the luggage.
I'm picking up my sister's luggage, and they don't know nothing. They just told me I got to look for it. Yeah. So it's like just like finding a needle in a haystack.
It could be days before the travel chaos is sorted out. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
Well, we continue with cloudy skies and only a few flurries here and there, and that's about it. Temperatures haven't dropped a whole lot since earlier this evening. Taking a look right now at St. John's, and you can see things are pretty quiet. In fact, you can see those flags hardly moving right now, so there's not too much of a breeze at this time. It's just cold out there. Temperature-wise, right at 20 degrees. You can see hardly a breeze here, and we didn't have much right through the day, so it was pretty good. Just lots of clouds and a few flurries from time to time. And in Grand Ledge right now, the temperature at 17 degrees, southwest wind just 4 miles per hour. That's it. And taking a look at the capital area right now, where it is cloudy, 18 degrees, southwest breeze, 7 miles per hour. And we go into the Jackson area right now with cloudy skies. We're at 19 degrees with a southwest breeze at just 5 miles per hour. Taking a look at Hillsdale right now, pretty quiet right now. You see the road is pretty much scraped out pretty good, and temperature at 19 degrees. Across the state at this time, we continue to see the snow showers in the Upper Peninsula, northern lower Michigan, where they love it there. And around here, this looks a little more than what really is there. We could have a couple of snow showers, more likely just a few flurries, and even those will pretty much go by the wayside as we go through the night and early morning hours. Widening up the view, this first system just continues to slowly move away, so it's taking away a lot of the energy there. This area of high pressure is going to keep us dry then for a couple more days coming up, so that'll be nice. And not only that, but the temperature will start to climb too. Now as we go through the night into the early morning hours, cloudy skies, a few breaks in the overcast, and then as we go through the day, you can see during your day on Tuesday a few breaks in the cloud cover, so we'll see a little bit of sunshine. And then as we go through Tuesday night, you see some snow up north, the Upper Peninsula, northern lower Michigan for us, just some clouds here and there. In fact, for the day on Wednesday, a lot of these clouds will be moving in a northeasterly direction, so we're going to be seeing more in the way of some sunshine for Wednesday. That's going to help to really boost the temperatures too. And then as we go into Wednesday night and Thursday, the next system coming on in, and notice on Thursday there's going to be a lot of clouds, but so far that's it. Thursday night into the day on Friday, well, the next system comes in and it's going to be rain. It's not going to be snow this time around. And you can always keep an eye on that as it comes on with our Storm Tracker 6 weather app too. It'll show you first a little bit of sunshine, then more over the next couple of days. Right now, 18 in Lansing and Charlotte, 19 in Jackson, 17 in Mason, and it pretty much feels that way, but it's only going to drop to 14, mostly cloudy skies, maybe a few flurries, and then for tomorrow, just mostly cloudy skies. We go up to 26 degrees on the 6-day forecast. As we go into the next couple of days, we go above freezing on Wednesday with some sunshine, and 47 degrees on Thursday. It's Thursday night into Friday. We start to get some rain coming in. Notice we're 45 to 50 into Saturday, and then next week too, the first half of it, it's going to be 40s to near 50 before we start to cool down a week and a half from now. So we're going in the right direction as far as temperatures. If those who like it to start to warm up just a little bit, it's going to.
I definitely like that. I think, yeah, it's going to help melt away some of that snow, making driving a little bit easier for us all. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, after a couple of days, it's really going to be cleared out.
All right. Well, thanks, Jim. Sure. Coming up on 6 News at 11, we'll take a look at the political headlines that shook America in 2022. That's next, so stay tuned. 6 News at 11, we'll be right back. 2022 was an impactful year for all 3 branches of government, from history making decisions at the Supreme Court to a change in power on Capitol Hill and major economic changes facing the White House. Skylar Henry has a look back on the political news that shaped this year.
The people have spoken.
Midterm elections made 2022 a high-stakes year for politics. Democrats held control of the Senate and even gained a seat after Georgia's runoff race.
51, a slim majority. That is great.
But celebrations were short-lived after Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema announced she was leaving the Democratic caucus to be an independent. Republicans narrowly recaptured the House, giving the GOP control of one chamber.
For me, the hours come for a new generation to lead the Democratic caucus that I so deeply respect.
Nancy Pelosi announced she was stepping down from her leadership position following the Republican win and a brutal attack on her husband. Investigators said the House Speaker was the intended target.
Are you ready to take this state back?
Some of the most prominent midterm candidates backed by former President Trump lost their races. As the GOP shifted blame to him, he announced another run for the White House.
America's comeback starts right now.
Trump's announcement came just before the appointment of a special counsel to oversee investigations into the former president, including his handling of classified material at his Florida home. Trump was also the focus of the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th assault. A series of public hearings featured testimony from people near the president that day, including aide Cassidy Hutchinson.
The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now."
The committee released a final report laying out the former president's culpability for the insurrection.
We believe that the evidence warrants a criminal referral of former President Donald J. Trump.
Congress also passed a handful of President Biden's key legislative priorities, including the Inflation Reduction Act, with $369 billion in climate investments over the next decade, the first major gun control bill in nearly 30 years, and more than $18 billion in aid for Ukraine in its fight against Russia.
Putin's invasion of Ukraine in March set gas prices soaring literally around the world.
President Biden spent much of the year trying to ease the economic strain on Americans. He tapped the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to lower gas prices and canceled up to $10,000 in student loan debt for millions of Americans. Legal challenges to the loan forgiveness are headed to the Supreme Court. In June, the High Court's conservative majority upended decades of precedent, reversing Roe v. Wade, ending federal protection for abortion rights.
The health and life of women in this nation are now at risk.
This decision is a victory for the pro-life movement.
Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson took the oath ahead of the fall term.
I, Ketanji Brown Jackson,
becoming the first African-American woman to serve on the Supreme Court. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Coming up on 6 News, Ukrainian officials say peace talks with Russia could be on the horizon, but not for a couple of months at least. We'll explain after the break. Moscow claims it shot down a Ukrainian drone at a base deep inside Russian territory. That the debris killed 3 soldiers on the ground, and Ukraine has a policy of not confirming responsibility for attacks in Russia. But Ukraine's foreign minister says there could be an end in sight. In an interview today, he said Kyiv is hopeful that legitimate peace talks could begin in just a couple of months.
We are aiming at the end of February, when the war will kind of enter its second, or is expected to enter its second year. The idea of the peace formula is twofold. On the one hand, not to allow Russia to manipulate the issue of peace, because they regularly say that they are ready for negotiations, which is not true, because everything they do on the battlefield proves the opposite, proves to the contrary. They're not seeking peace.
Russian President Vladimir Putin says Moscow is ready to negotiate for peace, but Ukrainian leaders say his actions on the battlefield show the complete opposite. Kyiv says its goal is for every Russian soldier to leave Ukrainian territory. Well, Ian is in for Audrey tonight, and he is here for you now with sports, and Michigan State's hockey team is back from its holiday break.
Yeah, the Spartans left today for the Great Lakes Invitational, and one Spartan made sure to stay in tip-top hockey shape during his break. We'll share that. Plus, the Michigan football team landed in Arizona today for the College Football Playoff semifinal, and we're going to show you an example of a teammate doing whatever it takes to win when we return.
This is the 6 Sports Desk.
After having 9 days off for the holidays, the Michigan State hockey team returned to the ice as a team on Christmas Day to get ready for tomorrow's game against Ferris State in the Great Lakes Invitational. The Spartans left for the west side of the state today with hopes of bringing back their first GLI title since 2009. This will be the 57th GLI and the first that's being played at Van Andel Arena in Grand Rapids. The 4 teams in the field feature 3 in the top 20. MSU at number 11, host Michigan Tech, is ranked 17th, and Western Michigan sits at number 18. MSU coach Adam Nightingale won the GLI during his junior year at MSU and now has a chance to win it in his first year as head coach. In order to do so, though, he'll have to beat a pair of coaches he's known since his playing days.
Ferris was the first school that recruited me. I remember, if you ask my dad his favorite college coach, he'd say Bob Daniels. He thinks the world of him. He's a great guy. Jeff Blashill played at Ferris. We did a golf outing up at Arcadia, and so I got to coach golf with Coach Daniels there. Pat Ferschweiler at Western. He's at World Juniors, but him and I worked in Detroit for 2 years, sat next to each other on a plane, so I'm really close with Fersch. And then Joey Sean, the head coach at Michigan Tech, was my coach in junior.
Well, we mentioned the players had 9 days off before returning to practice yesterday, but don't worry, they weren't consuming Christmas cookies the entire time they were at home. In fact, MSU's captain Miroslav Muha went back to Slovakia to play for the national team, and even though he only got to practice, Muha was still pleased with his time away from East Lansing.
To be part of the environment was very cool, and I was supposed to play in a second game, but the first game they won 6-0, so it was hard for coach to change the lineup, and so they went with the same lineup and they won 6-1. So obviously what they did worked, and I'm happy that I still got a medal and I was able to hang out with the team, so that was still a cool experience.
Always good to get a medal. Well, Michigan's football team arrived in Arizona tonight for Saturday's College Football Playoff semifinal game with TCU. And before Blake Corum suffered a season-ending knee injury, junior Khalil Mullins was playing linebacker for the Wolverines. But once Corum went down and Donovan Edwards shifted into the running back position for the starter, Mullins then made the move from defense to offense. Mullins split time with the running backs and linebackers in the spring, so this move hasn't been a total shock after he played the first 11 games of the season as a linebacker. The junior scored a touchdown in the Big Ten championship game and has been practicing with the offense leading up to the Fiesta Bowl. So being able to play both sides of the ball is clearly no problem for him.
For me personally, I've been doing it for pretty much my whole life. And then coming back to it now in college, I see how my knowing offense and playing running back again has helped my defense, and how playing defense for the past 2.5 years has helped my, growing into running back again. For example, pass protections, I can kind of tell the demeanor of different linebackers when they're blitzing and stuff like that. It's just little things.
Well, the only college football game taking place today was down in Detroit for the Quick Lane Bowl between New Mexico State and Bowling Green. The Aggies' first drive of the game is going to lead to a 15-yard touchdown from quarterback Diego Pavia to Star Thomas, who shined in the Motor City, and New Mexico State would lead 14-0 at halftime. And in the third, Amante Watkins, who played at TCU last year, cuts right through the teeth of the defense for a 45-yard touchdown to increase the Aggies' lead. New Mexico State, who started this season 0-4, goes on to win the Quick Lane Bowl 24-19. And in 6 days, the Detroit Lions will be playing on that exact same field as Sunday's game against the Chicago Bears will mark the final home game of the regular season for the Lions, who believe the loss to the Panthers on Saturday will still turn into a positive.
Man, it's the best thing that can happen to us, you know, because I think no matter who you are and whatever you do, some of your best work is when you get your face kicked in. And so, I mean, that literally, I don't know everybody gets their face kicked in, but I do know, man, when your back's against the wall and you get trotted on and everything's at its worst, you either just stay down there or you get up and you come back motivated.
Yeah, always good not to get your face kicked in. Well, staying in Detroit, the Pistons welcomed in the Los Angeles Clippers tonight, and the Pistons were less than 10 seconds away from ending their 5-game losing streak, but Terrence Mann ties the game at 128 with 4.9 seconds remaining, and in overtime, the Clippers took over thanks to threes like this from former Piston Luke Kennard, as Los Angeles goes on to end this game on an 11-0 run and beats the Pistons 142-131. And that's going to be it for sports. We'll be right back after the break with a final look at your forecast.
Not too bad of a day tomorrow. We're going to have a little bit of sunshine. That always helps. Temperature climbing up, 26, 37 on Wednesday, 47 on Thursday. And we're going to have some rain move in Thursday night into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But look at those temperatures. We're going to be way above the freezing mark for several days. I think that's okay.
Yeah. No, it is. You're right.
I see 50 and 51. That's A-okay with me.
You got it.
Love it. Well, thanks for watching 6 News at 11. We'll see you back here at 4:30 in the morning.